One of the biggest things that they don't teach in art school, or all colleges for that matter, is that you are an investment for somebody else, especially right after school. And this applies to even if you are, working for yourself and you are trying to help somebody else, you are an investment to them. If you become an employee somewhere, you are an investment to that company that you are working at. Essentially, with this expectation that they will spend money on you to get that money back, plus more money on top of that. That is their return on their investment. It took me a long time to realize that. Actually, it was probably my second job. I was probably a good 3 to 5 years into my career, and I was working on a series of animations. Up until this point, I don't really know why people hired me. I just knew what I wanted to do, and I just worked hard, and people just kept giving me money, basically. So up until this point, I would just kind of do whatever I thought looked cool, basically. And I did a series of animations for a company, and this was probably like 3 to 5 years into my career, and we made I think it was about 10 animations or so, pushed them off to this relatively big investment company, and within probably a month or so, they ended up getting back to us and saying, "Thank you so much. These videos helped us get over $1 million of investments." And obviously I didn't see any of that money, but that was pretty incredible for me. A really big learning moment at that moment where I realized that there was some serious value behind what I do, and that it's okay for people to make money off of me. As a matter of fact, that's the point wherever I started loving that idea. I want to help people make money with my help, because they certainly do a ton of work on their own, so I would just play a small role in their marketing help. So that's where this obsession of mine kind of started with, let's kind of figure out ways to bring that kind of value every single time I step up to the plate, basically. As a creative, it is super important to at least have a pretty decent understanding of how the business works that you are trying to help. This is kind of another big revelation for me in my own career, is trying to help people with their business. Again, understanding that you are an investment, your role is not to just make something pretty, push it off, and then say that's great and then move on to the next thing. It's to really try to understand their business, their industry, their company, their culture. Try to understand all of these things and make decisions based on what is going to help their business grow, and help them get their investment back on you, essentially. You got to try to find out as much as you can about what drives them, what got them to this point. Because that's passion that you can kind of find inspiration from. And there's plenty of information in their business that they're more than happy to tell you if it helps you do better work. For instance, I ask a lot of questions about the numbers. I want to know what their cost is to make their product. I want to know how many of those things that they sell. I ask a ton of questions before we even get to any of the creative stuff, because that's the stuff that you have to frame kind of all of your decisions in. Probably about 5 years ago was another big lesson for me, when I walked into a meeting that I had this awesome proposal of animation work, video work, a website, a bunch of design stuff, all packaged together in this pretty big campaign for this great company that I still really like today. And I walked into this initial meeting super excited for the biggest proposal that I would ever have to give to anybody up until this point. Slid it on the table, again, super excited. And then while he was taking a look at it, I can tell that there was something that just didn't kind of feel right about it. This guy specifically started a lot of businesses, so he kind of focused a little bit more on the numbers than the individual passion for each of these businesses that he had. So I started asking more questions about, like, how you feel about this, what are some of the numbers that you're looking at, and after, weirdly enough, we started talking about their shipping prices. Every time that they're shipping a unit out, it ended up being a different price for some reason or another. The difference of hundreds of dollars for a pretty small package. So there was a pretty serious problem right there that they needed to figure out, and I actually helped them kind of figure out who they need to talk to try to stabilize these prices or find out why there's a difference in these prices, because in a lot of the things that they were selling, they were actually losing money. So at that point, I just threw out my proposal altogether and decided that I'm just going to try to help you solve this problem right here before we ever work together, because it was a pretty major problem. And if he didn't fix that problem before working with me, then it probably wouldn't have been as great as he wanted it to be. So don't be afraid to be a consultant on these projects that you work on. Whether, again, you are working for a company or for directly with a client. Maybe you have your own business, maybe you're a marketing manager somewhere for a company. It doesn't matter what it is. You can definitely don't feel bad to have those conversations about the business, because it's going to help you understand a lot more. And there are a ton of benefits to doing just that. One is that you're going to increase your value, which is huge. Two is that you're going to create a long-term client here. Especially early on in my career, I kept doing projects for people, and that would be the only time I worked with them. It was just kind of one project then done, one project then done. But when you start forming this relationship based in their business, it makes it a lot easier for them to work with you, because you already know all of these things about them. So it helps create those long-term clients. And then another one is that it helps them make more money, which again kind of goes back to the creates long-term clients. But if you can help them make more money, then they're going to keep coming back to you over and over again. And it's really that simple, to just spend a lot more time early on, especially just understanding their business and how exactly you are affecting their business. So in the comments below, if you could just tell me, tell me a time where a client realized a certain amount of value while working with you. Cool. All right, and thanks, and I'll see you later. Bye.